Oh yeah, family. Right back at another lesson, another skills. We just sharing light here, right here on the Jehovih Chronicles, number 17. Oh, number 17. What y'all thought? It's the Divan law. Hey, yeah. My cow back in the house. I just swooped in from Syria. Another hot bill. Jehovih Chronicles. Get that light. We share it raw, straight to the point. Down here. And with that being said, let's get this started.
Welcome, why? Hey. Chronic, left, right, that's how come, left, right, ooh yeah, boy.
God's mine. Right back in it, y'all. Jehovih Chronicles number 17. Sister of mine asked me, God's mine, man, what happens after death? What happens in between the times of your death and a harvest here on earth? Let's get the sound down a little bit. Give a shout out to the people who stopped through. Sub, like, share. Hit that like button when you come in. While I roll my split by team. Let's see who we got up in here. We got Elijah, Kila, Tikva, Super 7, that's right. Put that Super 7 in the air. Keon. Shalom, beloved brother Cal P, and shalom to the Oahspe family. Creator gang. Right. Shout out to Sister Kila, brother Elijah, man. Jamil Hurt, what up? Salute. On the lookout. Salute. Sub, like, share. Share to your Facebook. Share to your Instagrams. Share to your TikToks. Chop it up. Throw the @ sign in there. You dig what I'm talking about? Cosmon Cal TV. Let your people come through. Let them know what's really going on, man. So my sister Shebrew asked me a question. She asked me a question earlier, maybe a day or so ago. What happens, you know what I mean, after you die? Can you take us through the progressions in the heavens? You know what I mean? She had been thinking about it. And then she asked, does Oahspe give a breakdown on what happens to you after you die? What do you do in the heavens? Well, it's well known, there is no answer to this question in Oahspe. Some books tell you things like, if you blow yourself up, you can get 70 virgins. Or if you do this thing will happen. And if you don't do this, then lake of fire forever for you. Then on top of that, you an infidel. You know what I mean? So with that being said, kind of want to go ahead and get into what happens after you die. I found an interesting video of a doctor who gives his take on he went through an illness and he was in a coma. Share Bear in the house. he goes into a coma and gives his experience about what he's seen in the heavens. I thought it was interesting. If you notice when he gives his story and he tells you about, being sick or whatever, and then waking up, and he was in this spot where he was low, where, everything was eye level and it was dark, and you know what I mean? I perceive that as being in a low Druidian state. But also it could be because his body was messed up, his mind was a little messed up, and angelic nurses and physicians, that's right, nurses and physicians may have had him in a state or stasis of spiritual being where they were regenerating him, because after that he says he comes up out of it and he sees this glorious place. You know what I mean? So without further ado, you know what I mean, let's drop this background music and get right into it. You dig what I'm talking about with Dr. Evan Alexander. You know what I mean? This is real interesting, man. I thought this was really interesting. So I kind of threw this as a visual aid, or maybe a help, to get your mind wrapped around what we about to do, because there are a bunch of different laws, but we're going to talk about the progression in the first resurrection to the second resurrection. We might even get into the second resurrection, but we're definitely going to break down what's going on, how long it takes, and what are these divine laws, the divine or divine laws. You dig what I'm talking about? Let me see what's going on here with this thing here, because it is sure taking forever to load. Let me see.
More than 90% of people believe there is an afterlife.
I faded out, from reality, and
the next thing after that, I remember was seeing myself on the emergency table, and they were working on me, trying to revive me.
being brought up this tunnel of light.
I was feeling all this love and this acceptance.
An hour later, the doctor came out and she said she was fine. And out of nowhere, she just asked when she can see God again.
Most people.
Okay, let me make sure. Let me go back. Can everybody hear this? If you can hear this, throw me a 1 in the chat. I just want to make sure that everybody got this. And can you see the screen? Throw me a 1 in the chat if you can hear this and if you can see the screen. Shabir in the house. Kila in the house. Okay, here we go. We got some 1s up in here. Must be a little drag behind y'all. So hopefully everything goes well. Okay, look like we sounding good. Look like we sounding good. Let's get this thing going, y'all. Let's get this thing going.
People are raised to believe that we are born, we age, and then we die. It's the natural cycle of life to death. Easy to see and understand. But what do you believe happens after we die? This is where opinion splits. Some have spiritual practices or experiences that describe our afterlife. Some believe in what they can see, touch, and measure. But can your beliefs on the afterlife change? I wasn't sure until I heard of Dr. Eben Alexander, a neurosurgeon who went through a near-death experience in 2008.
He was a man of science. He didn't believe in it.
When I was younger, I thought a heaven and a loving God made sense, but through my academic neurosurgery career, I saw less and less that could be the case. I started out in a primitive earthworm eye view.
Notice he started losing faith by what he was seeing.
In retrospect, was the best consciousness my brain could muster when it was soaking in pus in the neocortex, the human.
Notice he was losing faith. You know what I mean? He believed in a God, but let me run it back. But he started admitting to himself that he was losing faith by what he was seeing.
Of science. He didn't believe in it.
When I was younger, I thought a heaven and a loving God made sense, but through my academic neurosurgery career, I saw less and less that could be the case. I started out in a primitive earthworm eye view, very coarse, unresponsive realm, which I think in retrospect was the best consciousness my brain could muster when it was soaking in pus in the neocortex.
Now, to be in a state in your spiritual life, you dig what I'm talking about, to where you can't move, you in a dark place, everything is eye level, you dig what I'm talking about, is low and drooging. But could it be just because he was sick? Also notice he wakes up in his spirit and he's in a whole nother place. Let's go back just a little bit and let him tell you how he woke up. Listen, check this out.
Out in a primitive earthworm eye view, very coarse, unresponsive realm, which I think in retrospect was the best consciousness my brain could muster when it was soaking in pus and the neocortex, the human part of the brain, was being destroyed. But then I was rescued from that by a slowly spinning white light into a beautiful, ultra-real, idyllic valley filled.
Now, we know that the angelic nurses and physicians heal with light and sound, and he's seen a whirling thing before his face. And when they tried these same tactics with Pharaoh, but because he was under a spell, he couldn't come out of it. They have, when they're breaking up hells and knots, they have what is called a fire brand and a water brand that distract the spirit by the light. And some light is like a homeopathic healing light that brings you back to a spiritual balance or sanity that the higher angels use. And I believe this is what he trying to explain. Check this out.
Filled with life and growing plants with butterflies, sparkling pools of water, angelic choirs up above, emanating tremendous, awesome, and joy and beauty in these incredible anthems, chants, and hymns that came down from above, and then ascended up beyond that into realms beyond all time and space.
During his experience, he was taken to a heaven-like place where everything he thought
Said
he
they
knew
was
about
playing
neuroscience
anthems
was proven wrong.
and
Shortly
cheers.
after, he wrote the best-selling book
Creator.
titled Proof of Heaven. What I find fascinating about this particular
Check his
near-death
story. It's very
experience is
interesting.
Dr. Eben's scientific background. His understanding of the brain and the way he's able to expertly describe what happened to him. Hear it in his words.
Check this out, y'all.
I woke up about 4:30 in the morning with severe back pain, headache, and then the next thing my family knew is I was lapsed into general epileptic seizures. I was in grand mal status, which meant I was just seizing and completely unconscious, and that's when they called the EMTs, took me off to the Lynchburg General Hospital emergency room, and did a lumbar puncture. Out came thick white pus under pressure. My neurologic exam showed devastation. The reality is I just went deep into coma, and it was a severe case of E. coli bacterial meningitis, which is a real shocker because almost all cases of E. coli meningitis occur in newborns. It's very rare to encounter it beyond the age of 3 months. You know, how did this happen? And then I deteriorated through that week on 3 powerful antibiotics. They'd had me on a ventilator from the get-go. One of the unusual features of my near-death experience is that I was amnesic. I had no memory of Evan Alexander's life. I had no language, no words, no knowledge of Earth, this universe. It was a completely empty slate, and that's quite unusual for an NDE, but I think it was important in teaching me some of the deeper lessons. My brain was shut down. There's something called the Glasgow coma scale that you use to measure coma. Anybody in this room would score 15. That means they're doing great. If you're a corpse, you get a 3. Anything below 9 is deep coma. And for the vast majority of that week in coma, I was around a 6 or 7, sometimes as low as a 5. So I was in deep coma the whole time. They had CT and MRI scan data showing that all 8 lobes of my brain were affected. No part was spared. And that's why to have an extraordinarily rich experience, far more real than anything I'd ever experienced in my life, completely violates everything I thought I knew about brain, mind,
you need a conscious brain to experience.
But no, you don't. The brain is a filter. Its main function is actually to restrict consciousness down to this tiny little illusion of kind of self and non-self, all the stuff out there, and a here and now. But so much of that is really a fiction.
You step over from this world into the next. What happened?
Well, for me, that journey began in a very primitive, coarse, unresponsive realm. It was like being in dirty jello. I called it the earthworm's eye view. And I was there for a very long period of time. I'm sure I didn't have any kind of memory formation moment to moment. So it seemed to last forever. But the good news is it didn't. I was rescued by this slowly spinning, pure white light with fine silvery and golden tendrils. And as it came towards me, I realized it came with a perfect musical melody. Not music heard with the ears, because in those realms, our awareness goes far beyond the limitations of physical eyes and ears and a physical brain. But the good news is that beautiful spinning white light opened up into a brilliant, ultra-real realm that I call the Gateway Valley. And that was filled with many Earth-like features. It was a world of perfection and ideals. There was no death or decay anywhere. Beautiful, lush plant life, flowers, buds on trees, blossoms, colors beyond the rainbow. I was a speck of awareness on a butterfly wing among millions of butterflies, looping and spiraling in vast formations above this Gateway Valley. And in that valley were thousands of beings dancing, lots of joy and merriment. And when I wrote it all up weeks later, I said these were souls. I knew there were souls between lives and that there was this incredible joy and merriment going on. And it was all being fueled because up above were these swooping orbs, pure spiritual orbs of divine energy, these which I came to call angelic choirs when I had to put a label on them. But it was the anthems and chants and hymns that would thunder down from this beautiful chorus of angels above that was fueling this incredible festivity.
Notice they having festivities.
Pools, and all of this joy and merriment, children playing and dogs jumping.
So
incredible happiness.
Your senses are heightened and not contained, not
Correct.
confined.
Got to remember, our brain and our eyes and ears, they give us a very kind of diluted down version of reality.
A limited version of reality.
Drinking through a fire hose, an incredible ocean of this loving awareness. And for me, in that beautiful Gateway Valley realm, on the wing of that butterfly, my first awareness of the divine was a sense of a divine wind, or the breath of God, as I called it in some of my early writings, that blew through. And it was amazing because even though the elements of the scene stayed the same, all of a sudden I realized the incredible power of that divine force, of that causal force of an infinitely loving God, not a judging God, one of infinite love, of being home, of our spiritual essence, of the purity of our being, with comfort that really goes beyond any words.
So you felt comforted.
And that's why
you felt at peace.
Absolutely. And that is such a beautiful lesson that comes not just from my near-death experience, but from near-death experiences across all cultures, all nations, going back several thousand years, the stories are always of this beautiful peace, like we are home. This incredible joy and oneness, and that God force of pure infinite love is so healing. The good news is you don't need a near-death experience to know this. It turns out that it didn't all happen in that Gateway Valley, that in fact the music from those angelic choirs provided portals to higher and higher levels, all the way out to the core. And the core was infinite inky blackness, but filled to overflowing with that God force of love. And all in the setting of the entire material universe and lower spiritual realms having been shrunk down to this complex oversphere that was there as a source of lessons and teaching. But in that realm was this incredible oneness with the divine, a sense that our very conscious awareness is directly connected. There's no separation between us and that God force. Of course, the God force is the pure love.
That's right.
Absolute, unconditional love for all of creation. I wasn't alone. There was a beautiful young woman beside me on the butterfly wing. And she never spoke a word. She didn't have to. She was dressed in the very same simple garb and yet beautiful colors of all those thousands of beings dancing down below. And she looked at me with her sparkling blue eyes and high cheekbones, a broad smile, soft brown hair framing her beautiful face with a look of infinite love. And that, to me, was the essence of the journey. And I think the most important thing for me to bring back was how her awareness came into my mind. And of course, it wasn't as words when it happened, but when I put it all to words weeks later and writing it all up, the message was very simple. And the thing is, I knew her so well from her mental, emotional connection with me in my mind. And yet I realized, and this was especially haunting in the months after my coma, when I started reading thousands of near-death experiences and saw that there was always a guardian angel who was somebody very crucial in your life. And I remembered her so perfectly that I knew I'd never met her in my life. You know that.
Notice he said that he felt that she was like a guardian angel over him. Readers of the Oahspe know they are Ashar, a guardian angel. Peep his story, though. It get interesting.
When I started reading thousands of near-death experiences and saw that there was always a guardian angel who was somebody very crucial in your life. And I remembered her so perfectly that I knew I'd never met her in my life. You know, that was the beautiful discovery 4 months after my coma. And of course, there's that beautiful picture. That's exactly.
So you didn't know who this was?
No. I had no idea. And it has to do with the fact that I had met my birth family about a year before my coma. But the reality is they were still suffering from the loss of that daughter. And so they didn't really want to talk about her too much. And you know, what they did share was what a beautiful, angelic, loving soul that she was. And of course, I was quite sad as a brother who never got to meet her in this world. And that's why when my birth sister, Kathy, she finally sent me a picture. And I received that picture about 4 months after my coma. And it turns out it was very important that at the same time, because I think I needed some opening in my awareness and in my mindset, at the same time I was reading a beautiful story in Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's book, Life After Death. And in that she tells a story of a 13-year-old girl who had was in coma, very sick medically. And in this beautiful journey, she was welcomed to the heavenly realm by her brother. And he was demonstrating to her that power of unconditional love and the beauty of that of God in that realm, and then helped her make a decision to come back to this world. When she did, she was talking to her father about it. She said, "But I don't understand. I don't have a brother." And he said, "Well, you did, but he died 3 months before you were born, so we never told you about it." And that's when I looked up at the picture that I just received the afternoon before, and I collapsed on the ground, and my heart pounds, and I can't, even now, every time I revisit this story, chills running up and down my spine because of the beauty of that recognition of that guardian angel. And all of a sudden I realized we were deeply connected. And in fact, it's like she was looking at me in the picture that you showed a few minutes ago, as if to say, "Do you finally get it?"
Yeah.
Well, yes, Betsy, I finally get it. Well, the doctors had estimated early in the week that I had about a 10% chance of living through it. After 7 days in coma, with just a horrible medical picture in terms of prognosis, they predicted that had gone down to a 2% chance of survival. But in that medical conference they held that Sunday morning, they recommended to the family stopping the antibiotics. And the reason for that is they thought there was no chance for my recovery. So when I did actually open my eyes on that Sunday morning, they were shocked. My brain was so completely savaged by this experience, I had no idea who these beings were standing by my bedside. My sisters, my sons, my former spouse, my mother. I didn't know who they were. All I remembered was where I'd been, this incredibly rich journey. And I also had, for about 36 hours after I came back to life and they pulled out the breathing tube, I was kind of in and out of a crazy, paranoid, delusional ICU psychosis, a nightmare, back and forth in that world. But the memories from deep coma, in many ways, were far more real, vibrant, and alive than any of the rest of it. And that paranoid, delusional nightmare, those memories faded within about a week. The memories from the deep coma experience are as fresh today as if they happened yesterday. When millions and millions of people start sharing these stories, there is no doubt of the eternity of soul and the reality of this God.
I thought that was very interesting. Let me stop sharing that. I thought that was very interesting. You know what I mean? How he explained the festivities, how he explained the music, the light, the feeling of love, and that he knew, even though he didn't, it was never verbalized to him, that the person he was looking at was his guardian. Come to find out, that person that he met in his dreams, right, was his sister that he had never met before. So I want to get to this. My sister asked me, what happens? See, this is the beauty of Oahspe, right? Oahspe is literally the ABCs, 1, 2, 3s of spirituality. As it says on the very cover, it is a spiritual guidebook. This is the Screwy Dewey and Louie Junior Woodchuck guidebook to spirituality. This Oahspe is something else. It takes the fear away, the not knowing, right? Look, we find ourselves here in the first book of God, right? This is taking place, folks. I want to get into this so I can show you this. Hold on one second. Right. Let me show you this. I want to show you where we at, where we talking about. Let me blow it up just a little bit more. Oh, I can't get it no more. Okay. We are here. 7,053 BC. We are in the 22nd arc cycle. After the creation of man. Look, man, beast man is created 6,000 years before. Right? 6,000 years before, circa 77,523 BC. This is your Adamites, your Asu, your beastman, your hominid. You dig what I'm talking about? But no less a man. But what we're saying is, when we say the 22nd arc cycle, we are talking about roughly 3,000 year periods. Can be as much as 3,600 to as little as 2,400 year period, but on average, 3,000. From when the very first men with spiritual ability were created in the very first 3,000 years or arc cycle, which is called wane, we find ourselves all the way down here. All the way down here in the 22nd arc cycle, which is a 3,100 year period, beginning in 7,053 BC, ending in 3,953 BC, or 8,900 years before the Cosmon era. That time, this arc, this 22nd arc, is called Lu. Everybody already know what's the 17th arc cycle called? Noah. So just like the 17th arc, the arc of Noah, the 22nd is the arc of Lu. Under the Orion chief, these are higher than your Etherian gods. See? Look up here. If you look up here, you have God and road maker, keeper of the cross, goddess, God, chieftainess. You did what I'm talking about? Inspector of roads. But then you have the ones over them. These are the Orions, right? This is also showing the levels that's going to happen or you will attain to after death. But then over the Orions, you have the Nirvanians, peace to the righteous gods, and the Nirvanian goddesses who are higher than the Orions. And then guess what? There's ones higher than the Nirvanians called Otians. Huh? Okay. Let's get back to this. And let's go back to Oahspe. My sister asked, well, what happens? These laws of the lower heavens and what happens in the resurrection and what happens after death are revealed through us through the great prophet Zarathustra, the Zarathustrian law, the Ihumazdian law, and the Ormazdian law, or the law of light. You know what I mean? So you have the word, the law of God, of man, and then you have the law of light. These are the Divan laws. If a Zarathustrian, right? I thought this was interesting too. Hold on. I want to go back up a little bit. Right here. Now, if a Zarathustrian is a follower of Zarathustra, but would be equivalent to a faithist, right? I thought this was very interesting. Look how they allow the child to raise up on the love of its mother, so it kind of always knows her. Watch this, right? Let's start at 3 and 14. This is the first book of God, 3 and 13, dealing directly with the time of Zarathustra, or the 22nd arc cycle. God propounded, if a Zarathustrian or a faithist has a wife who is not a faithist, and she gives premature birth, whether by accident, like miscarriage, or abortion, what happens to the spirit of that child? On this, all the members of Divan spoke, and after that, God decreed. Well, first of all, what is Diva? These are the angelic counselors and counsel and judges of the Most High Creator. They are a group of high-raised angels who work out the best way for man to advance spiritually and physically. What happens to the faithless in this life and the next? True God is laying it out, and these are called the Divan laws. Now, God asked the question, and now all the member of Divas, which are 11, if I'm not mistaken, yes, 11, true God making the 12th, and sitting in the horn, so 5 on the one side, 5 on the other side, 1 in the middle, and true God sitting in the horn or the altar of Jehovih at the throne. Look what they say. Let's go back, look what they say. Such spirit, talking about the baby, shall not be brought to heaven for a season, but shall be fettled day and night on its natural mother or father. So these people are still living, but the spirit is given back to the mother or the father, so the infant child can grow even in spirit. It pulls spiritual substance because it died before it had the chance to truly grow. So they give it back to the mother or to the father, right? And I know many of us, man, who didn't witness miscarriages and things like this have heard the stories told by women when they say, man, I feel like the baby's still here, or you know what I mean? I still feel like it's kicking, or you know what I mean? I still feel, you know what I mean, like the baby is here. We've heard these stories. Honor and humility in the house. Malachi, King, Nazarite, King of the Nazarites, Malachi, honor and humility. Shout Jay Manson, shout Belzel, shout On the Lookout. Selah Shalom in the house. Creator gang. We in here breaking down the Jehovah Chronicles number 17. What happens after the death in the Divan laws? Look, such spirits shall not be brought to heaven, right? So after the baby died, they didn't bring it to heaven. They fettled it, or they grafted it onto the parent to pull spiritual substance and sustenance from the mother or the father's love and mirth of the child until the full 9 months are completed. So let's say the child was stillborn in 7 months. They bring it back to the mother for the full 9 months that it would take to birth a spirit of grade, or that can be raised up, a full spiritual birth, not a premature spiritual birth. Until the full 9 months are completed, and then it shall be delivered with due ceremonies by the Ashars, the guardians. Here we go again. So the guardians of the mother and the father, and the guardian that was of that newborn spirit is taking it back, right? And delivering it, right? After that, it shall be fetal the same as in the, it should be fetal the same as in the 7th Divan law, or just like it was against his, just like it was against for its mother and its father. And this was the 10th Divan law. The 11th Divan law, right? If a Zarathustrian or a Faithist attains to maturity before he dies, his spirit shall be an Essaying for 2 years. And during this time, he shall be attended by not less than 2 Asafs. An Asaf is an angel of the grades. After your Ashar, right here, remember, the Ashar then delivers, your Ashar is your guardian, it delivers you to the Asaf that grades you and puts you in the heaven where your spiritual rate has you manifested. So if you are a 50 of grade, you go to a heaven situated for the 50s. If you are 75 of grade, you go to a heaven situated for the 75s. If you are 10, meaning, by this meaning you do 90% of things selfishly and for self, and do 10% of things unselfishly and for others, good works for others, your spirit rate is 10. So you, after you die, you go to a heaven situated by the Asafs, but who situated by your spiritual grade, but who gets you to the heaven after delivered by your Ashar, your guardian, your Asafs. And look, and it's saying, before he, if a Zarathustrian or Faithist attains to maturity before he dies, the spirit shall be Essaying for 2 years. And during this time, he shall be attended by not less than 2 Asafs. So you're going to have 2 people with you, 2 angelic beings with you. What are they doing? Right? They're going to have 2 people when he goes away from his heavenly home. So they take you to your home, to the place where you are. And when you go and come and go, they come and go with you, because these are the Asafs, are the angels who teach you the ways of the heavens. And the Asafs shall teach him the mode of travel, what you travel in, how it works, and the manner of knowing localities. They're going to teach you how to get there and how to know where you at in your heavenly home. And this is both on the earth and in the first resurrection. Listen, because many of the very first resurrections and the lowest heavens lie directly on the planet. The first resurrection, or the highest of the lowest heavens, is situated right above the clouds. And they shall, these Asafs, teach him the variety and kinds of food. So look what you being taught. Right? How to get around, right? What to get around in, where everything is at, where your home is, where, and how to feed yourself. and the varieties and kinds of food situated to the highest and best education of a spirit, you, the new spirit, right? But when he travels with his companions of his own heavenly group, remember, everybody who come in at a 10, there's some other people at a 10 who came in with you. Then the asafs of the group shall go along with them. And during the 2 years, he shall be provided with food and clothes from the stores in heaven. So you got that God Gucci on. You dig what I'm talking about? You got that rockin' revival for real. You dig what I'm talking about? Then you got some rockin' resurrection on. You dig what I'm talking about? You rocking that fly shit. Can you imagine the colors in your clothes? Could you imagine just even on the lowest levels, because this ain't just regular cloth. This cloth is made of atmospheric substance. So you could have a dress of carbon, a dress of phosphorus, which is like yellow and burning and glowy, like yellowy light. You could have pure amethyst clothing, aquamarine clothing. You just come out shining. That's what's in the stores in heaven. But look what you doing. And during these 2 years, he shall be provided with food and clothes for the first 2 years. That's a hell of a head start to get you comfortable. And know your way, and notice you ain't being left alone to just figure nothing out. Right? You got somebody there who is high raised to teach you the way of the high raised. Right? From the stores in heaven, and he shall not labor to provide himself with anything for 2 years. Let's look right here. Let's show these 2 years, right? Let's show the first resurrection and the times of the first resurrections. You dig what I'm talking about? So here we go. Let me blow it up right here. Maybe I can get it a little bigger. Here we go. Here we go. Just what we was explaining in the Divan laws in the first resurrection. This is for faithists. This is for the guy who gets it, and the guy who does the work, and the guy that dies in the graves. In the first resurrection, you will be a new spirit, what is called an Ashar, for 2 years. Right? And what it say? And during the 2 years, he shall be provided with food and clothes from the stores in heaven, and he shall not labor to provide himself with anything. And on right here, hold on, let me get back to it. We find ourselves in the first resurrection in the first 2 years. This is a good way to build up spirit rate. Taking 2 years, just working out your spirit body, getting it right, doing good works. You dig what I'm talking about? Getting your bearings. You are an Ashar, S meaning spirit, and Yan meaning new. For 2 years, right here. The 12th Divan law was in reference to the same spirit, which was at the end of 2 years, the asafs again, the guys who move you through the grades, shall deliver him and those of his group who are prepared into the department of the first instruction, and his name shall be entered into the library of that department of heaven, and entered apprentice in the first resurrection. Here his first lessons shall be making clothes. Look at this, making clothes for not only for you, for other people, working. You're going to learn how to make these heavenly clothes out of this atmospheric level of material, and providing food for himself and others. And he shall be entitled to participate, if he so desires, if she so desires, in the recreations of the apprentices, such as music. Look what's going on. Dancing, marching, painting, and other arts like martial arts. So they're going to teach you to play like Bach and Mozart and all the greats. And you're going to get that rhythm down. You're going to be in heaven jamming. Can you imagine the music? Dancing. It's some people who got a natural vibe, who, you dig what I'm talking about? When you talk to them about Creator and they get it, they get to clapping their hands and dancing. You dig what I'm talking about? Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's an expression of love. So you're going to learn to sing and make music to the Creator. Not that you're going to be a musician, but I bet you be proficient. You're going to learn to dance for the Creator. March for the Creator. Paintings. I think painting, why painting, is because it allows you to express what your spirit sees in color. And once you learn color, sound, and light are all the exact same thing. So is taste. It's all vortex. The 13th Divan law, right? So these are going on after your first 2 years. The 13th Divan law was in reference to the same spirit, which was, he shall serve not, but hold on, let me go back. Excuse me. Here we go again. In the first resurrection, we did our 2 years as an insane, right? We learned how to get around and stuff, but now we're being entered as an apprentice in the heavens, in school, where we learn how to make clothing. The first thing we learn how to do is make clothing and food for others, right? And then you can enter in things like music and dancing and painting and other arts, right? But here we go, right? He shall serve not less than 2 years as an intern apprentice. This is what's going on after you die. Excuse me. And longer if his proficiency is not sufficient for advancement. See, this is like third grade. You did what I'm talking about. You did your first 2 years. That's first and second grade. That's beginnergarten and kindergarten. This is year 3 and 4, right? But really, first grade and second grade. Feel what I'm saying? And you got to make the grade to pass. He shall serve not less than 2 years as an intern apprentice, and longer if his proficiency is not sufficient for advancement. So what they getting, or what they're being taught as an intern apprentice, right, they must pass the snuff, the smell test, the test. They must pass proficiently, or they must go back and do another year. But when he is advanced, not saying if he is advanced, but when, meaning, oh, you're going to get it. You can do your 2 years, you can do 4 years, you can do 10 years in here. But until you get it, you will advance no higher. But when he is advanced, he shall no longer be called an apprentice, but a craftsman. And he shall be taken to a suitable place where his labor will continue to the heavenly kingdoms. And his recreations shall entitle him to instruction in both corporeal and essaying knowledge, or physical and spiritual knowledge, and their correspondence. Right? As a craftsman, he shall serve 7 years. Right? Let's go show this. So after you then did your 2 years as a new guy, you get entered as an apprentice. After you graduate, first grade and second grade, you come up here to third grade. You are now a craftsman. All these levels that are behind you are mastered. So you mastered the beginning level. You mastered the first level. Now you are a craftsman, and you will do this, being a craftsman, for 7 years. This is what's happening in the heavens. Ain't no rest. Ain't no rest in peace. We rising and working in peace. Right? Who want to be up there lazy as hell all day? Nobody want to do that. You dig what I'm talking about? I'm trying to go see Cynthia Armage. I know she fine as wine. You dig what I'm talking about? I'm trying to go see Afe and them. I want to go see where Luamong and Moses at. I want to go see Iwata. Huh? And he shall be taken to a suitable place after you become a craftsman, where his labor will continue to the heavenly kingdoms, and his recreations shall entitle him to instruction in both corporeal and essaying knowledge, in their correspondence. As a craftsman, he shall serve 7 years. Meaning, when they say correspondence, that's meaning how or spirit things match up with corporeal things, and how corporeal things match up with spiritual things. The 14th Divan law, was in reference to the same spirit, which was the craftsman's examination. You got a test being completed, right? He shall then return to labor in the nurseries in heaven, becoming assistant to the Asas. And during this period, he shall report at the roll call. There's a roll call in heaven. And his teachers, right, shall take him with them down to mortals and teach him how to see and hear corporeal things. So, your physical ears ain't really no good when you're trying to hear spiritual things, right? So, in vice versa, and as above, so below, your spiritual ears must not be instantly good at hearing corporeal things. So they teach you how to see and hear corporeal things. And they shall also explain to him feudalism and the obsession of mortals by Drujas. so that he may understand the cause of lying. Why do you lie? Jujas. Stealing. Why do you steal? Jujas. Why you tattling, telling, snitching, mealy mouthing, gum bumping? You talking about whole shit, telling this and that? Obsession by Jujas. Conspiracies. Why you always keep some bullshit up? Jujas. Murder. Why you shoot that boy in his face? Juja. Right? Among mortals, this is why it's done. Right? To the 15 Divan law, pertain to the same spirit. Hold on. Let's get back over here. Let me see. Right? You did it for 7 years, right? Now you with the nurse assistants to the Ashar. It's a 3-year period. Look, we've been in heaven 7 years. When this is finished, 11 years. When this is finished, it'll be 14. Watch this. Oahspe dope. After he has served 3 years as a nurse assistant, so you 14 years in, right? As a nurse assistant to the Ashar, he shall be promoted to the hospitals in heaven as hospitals. As an assistant to the physicians. And they shall teach him the restoration of spirits in chaos and crazy spirits and deformed spirits. So maybe this is how, of sick spirits. Remember dude said he was sick, right? And we know that there is a spiritual world, but maybe they had to heal him. They had to restore his spirit so his spirit could restore his body. Remember, he said he was in a dark place where he couldn't move at first. And he kept seeing this light over him. And he was sick, right? He was spiritually sick so that his body was sick. And remember also, right here above where it says deformed spirits, I forget where, you know what I mean, I heard this, where a guy who was paralyzed had a near-death experience, and in his heavenly trip that he remembered he could walk. You know what I mean? He wasn't in no wheelchair in heaven. So if you are physically broken, does that mean you're spiritually broken? And if you're spiritually broken, does that mean you physically broken? There are sure hints of it here. And they shall teach him the restoration of spirits and chaos and crazy spirits and deformed spirits, because you can restore them. And of sick spirits and of spirits afflicted with foul smells, who cannot clean themselves. Look at this. Look how low that you can be after death. Especially other spirit. This is why you got the 2 years of he's saying. You may learn how to walk again, how to wash your butt, how to not stink, how to get used to your legs that you ain't never had in your physical life. Creator make all right in this life or the next. He balancing it all out. You know what I mean? But look, there's order, angelic order in the heavens. They teaching you how to restore these spirits. There are already spirits who do this. Been in the heavens millions of years, billions of years. Who already do this. These are teachers who are teaching you how to do this 14 years after your death. You dig what I'm talking about? And I'm going to tie it in for myself. I'm going to even tie myself into this real quick. Hold on. Especially, right, of the spirits of women who produced abortion on themselves or suffered it to be done to them, and of monomaniacs and all manner of diseased spirits. And the physician shall take him with them when they go down to mortals to remove fetals. And he shall learn how they are severed safely to both. And they shall take him to the battlefields where mortals are slain one another, or well, they would take him to the battlefield where mortals have slain one another, whose spirits are in chaos and are still fighting. How do you calm these niggas down? Huh? He in chaos. He fighting. So as soon as you come up to him, what do he think you is? The enemy. So you got to be very careful. So there's a way to step up to these guys, right? And subdue him, because he's still going to fight, right? They say that whose spirits are in chaos and are still fighting, and he shall assist him, bringing them away from the corporeal place, and also learn how to restore them. Look at this. And where to deliver. Where am I at? Where am I at? And he gonna learn where to deliver them when restored, like the Asaf. And if there are knots. Now, and we're going to see how high the Asafs are. Why they teach it. We're going to see where the Asaf is on the level. And if there are knots, right, in any region near at hand, the physician, right, shall take you, right, to the knot and show you how they are untied and how they are mastered and delivered. And if there is any hell near at hand, the physician shall take him there to teach him how hell is delivered and his people restored. For 10 years, he shall serve the assistant to the physicians. Now, I just wanted to show this real quick, right? You are an assistant to the physicians, right? You have been through 14 years, right? My great-grandmother, right? Emily Carter died in 2005 at the age of 95. Right? Grandma, for all intents and purposes, first of all, much of this, there are things, right, that can be taught to people of higher spiritual rate. Remember, if you go into a heaven situated for the 50s, much of these things will be added to you already when you get to the level for the 50s. You're gonna, and instead of doing all the apprentice, craftsman, whatchamacallit, 2, 7, 3 years, you're gonna knock all this out in 2. But let's just stick to the script, right? We got 14 years. My grandmother died in 2005, so this is 17 years later. By this chart, right, and by the Divan laws, grandma is about 17 years in. So she would be in the 10 years of the first resurrection, right? Or 17 years into the first resurrection, or into her third, fourth year, going into her 4th year, right, of this 10 as an assistant to the physicians, right? where she is learning these things to break up hells, master hells, deliver people, deliver spirits, heal spirits, assist and bring away spirits and chaos and how to heal them. You dig what I'm talking about? She would be in that level. I personally believe there are things you don't have to relearn if you already learned them. So, and they're added to you as a benefit of good works done or being spiritually strong, because you can just master it by will. Didn't the spirits take on semblances of flesh by what? By will, by force of will. Spiritual rate builds force of will. Let me light my splipating. The 16th Divan law applied to the same spirit, which was having fulfilled the part of the, excuse me, my bad, y'all. The 16th Divan law applied to the same spirit, which was having fulfilled the part of assistant physician. So you done did the 10 years. He shall then be promoted to the full rank of nurse. This is in the first resurrection. You still ain't rose above the clouds. And look at all what's going on. Right? Now let's show. Hold on, let's show. Right? You mastered the assaying level in the entered apprentice level. You became a craftsman for 7 years and mastered it. You became a nurse assistant to the Ashar for 3 years. You became an assistant to these physicians. Right? For 10 years. Grandma didn't master this. She already got this. You did what I'm talking about. She gone. But we gonna see where she gonna be. Remember, let's just say she's 17 years in. That would mean she'd be an assistant to a physician. Right? Let's see where she is by Dan. Right? They say you're going to be a nurse for 10 years. Right? Watch this. Let's go back. And having fulfilled the part of an assistant physician, right? Wait a minute. Having fulfilled the part of an assistant physician, he shall be promoted to the rank of the full rank of nurse. Now notice these names: nurse, craftsman, Ashar. They are spiritual ranks, titles, positions given to spirits or one-time men. These are dead men who are raising up in heaven. This is what happens to them. They get promoted by the knowledge they acquire and how much they help others and abnegate self. Notice that is a theme in everything they're learning. They're learning how to get around, but they're learning how to build as a craftsman. You dig what I'm talking about? To help as a nurse assistant, to help as an assistant to the physicians, to help as a nurse. You see what I'm saying? You see the good works done to others needed in this life and the next. Okay. He shall be promoted to the full rank of nurse, and in that department he shall serve 10 years, which completes his emancipation in that order. And after that, any and all the nurseries of the lower heavens shall be free and open to him, and he shall go to which one he desires, except when specially commanded for a certain work by his Lord or by the God of his division. The 17th Divan law referred to the same spirit which was, having passed a satisfactory examination. You had to get some A+ on this thing. They tested you. They ain't just believed that you knew it. They made sure you mastered it. And having passed satisfactory examination by his Lord or his Lord's attendants, he shall be promoted to the full rank of physician. And in that department, in the heaven, he shall serve 50 years. And when his emancipation in that order shall be complete, and all the hospitals in the lower heavens shall be open to him, then all the hospitals in the lower heavens shall be open to him, and he shall choose whichever of them he desires as his labor, as his place of labor, unless specially required by his Lord or by the God of his division. The 18th Divan law affected the same spirit which was, he shall now pass an examination by his lords or his deputies, and if he proves himself in a knowledge of a structure of both the corporeal and spiritual man, then he is registered as an interfactor. Huh? Let's show this. Let's get back to this real quick. Right. So you done got past the assistant to a full nurse. You did 10 years as a nurse. So we got 11, 14, 24, 34, 84 years, right? And 84 years in to get to an interfactor, a person who is proved what? What'd they say? He shall now pass an examination by his lords or his lord's deputies, and if he proves himself in a knowledge of the structure of both the corporeal and the spiritual man, right? He shall be registered as an interfactor, and he shall serve 12 years in forming and making fabrics for raiment and for other useful and ornamental purposes. Right? You didn't went that long to learn how to make stuff physically and corporeally because you've mastered it. And you're going to serve 12 years forming and making fabrics for raiment. Remember, you was way back here. Where we at? Remember, you was way back here as a craftsman, putting the clothes together, sewing them. Look, these people is making the actual fabric, the interfactor. So after the interfactor, you are already 96 years in to the first resurrection. Trust me, people rise faster than this, but this is the normal route. You dig what I'm talking about? And you must understand all below you. So what about the person? See, the proof of that is What about the people who die and go straight to the second resurrection? Okay. So they learn everything below them if you went to the second resurrection. These things are applied to you just like learning is applied to you through suis, but you have to experience it. You see what I'm saying? So you would have to get all, this is why you're going through all the experience down here in the first resurrection. So you know it. You don't believe that it's happening. You know it's happening, and you've learned, and you're learning and gaining knowledge and power from it. So you don't believe nothing. Belief is useless when you have control of will. This is why we not called believers. We call faith faithists, because faith is stronger than belief. You don't have to do anything to believe. You got to do something to have faith. The whole purpose of experience or creation is for creator to experience himself, experiencing himself. How great must you be? You did what I'm talking about? But we hear it as the interfactor. Dig this, right? We're going to get back to it. Right? And for 12 years as that interfactor, informing and making fabrics for raiment and for other useful and ornamental purposes. The 19th Divan law, was like the 18th, except that his labor shall be gathering and transporting food for another 12 years. And the 12th the 20th Divan law was like the 19th, except that his labor shall be the welding of large bodies, or the wielding of large bodies, and of carrying them long distances. Look at this. The 21st Divan law dealt with the same spirit. He shall now enter the creative as an apprentice. 36 years he shall serve in the creative. What do the creative learn how to do? Learn how to create. And the 22nd Divan law was like the 21st, except that he shall dwell in ooze, disillusion, and serve 12 years in learning ooze. So if you know how to condense, you must learn how to dissipate. If you're learning how to dissipate, you must learn how to condense and hence create. Mastering vortex. Ooh. What? It's in the first resurrection. Y'all got, listen, hold up, wait a minute. This is the first resurrection. This is astounding. This is astounding. This is just in the very first resurrection. Right? Well, let's go down here and just see what they say about ooze. Many spiritualists have seen spirits perform ooze. I have seen flowers pass through a board without injury or abrasion to either boards or flowers. This is how they move things through things. This is how you know everything has a so-called spirit. And if you can tap into it with things like light and sound, you can change its molecular structure. This is the energy of what they call the purse in the pine. This is ooze. This is making the mountain get out of the way. You don't, as a matter of fact, no. This is for the mountain to float through you. Ever hear about the old stories they talk about where a man makes a mountain get into the sea, get up and move? He was practicing ooze. The 23rd Divan law meant for the same spirit was, he shall now enter college. Where we at? Hold on. So we done came here from an Interfactor, right? This 96, this 108 years, this 120 years, right? 100, this 150 years. As a creative, as a large body transporter, as a food transporter, as an interfactor, a physician, a nurse, assistant to the physicians, nurse assistants, to the associates, to the craftsmen, to the interior apprentice, all the way back to when you did 2 years. Now we find you here. $150 years at creative, 162 years as a learner of ooze. This is 162 years, right? In the lower heavens, bound to the earth and subject to the second heaven. And their first and second are subject to the third heavens. And even the third heavens is subject to the vortex. Huh? Let's go back. Let's read some more. Right? So we enter into college. He shall now enter college. Remember when they found Nugan. Nugan is Amos the first, or Pharaoh, the bad Pharaoh, the Pharaoh who wouldn't let the people go of Bible. I know Bible tells you that there's only one Pharaoh, but there are actually two. If you really want to keep it real, there's three, because you got Amos the first. And when I tell you Amos and Kamos come from Thebes, but when I also tell you Sobek Nephru, Amenemhat the fourth, and Amenemhat the third are from the Hyksos dynasties of Avarice in what they call the south, which is lower, which is actually north Egypt, and the south, or lower or upper Egypt, which is actually in the south. One was ran out of Thebes, and one was ran out of Avarice. Hyksos out of Thebes, the regular Egyptian hierarchy coming out of Thebes, and the Hyksos coming out of Avarice, is all at the same time during this so-called second intermediate period of the Hyksos. They didn't overthrow the Egyptian dynasty. It was two dynasties running at the same time. One in the south, one in the north. You dig what I'm talking about? But he shall now enter college and serve according to his talents. What talents? The talents you learned in earth. The talents you learned through all this 160 some, almost 202 years worth of learning. You about to do 40 years in this college. But look at Creator. He don't let nothing go to waste. He know you got talent, so now they showing. Whatever your talents is, you're going to enter in college and serve according to them talents. So if you got a talent for cooking, that's where you're going to go. What if you got a talent for oratory? What if you have a talent for singing, dancing? What if you got a talent for science? Well, then you enter in college and serve according to them talents from 5 to 40 years. So they just imagine there are high-raised angels raising up, first resurrection still though, who mashed 40 years worth of college into 5 years. So I'm telling you, you got to get the information. You got to experience it. You got to know. But it definitely can be added to you, because 40 years right here, from 5 to 40, I got to pass this test that's coming after this. So whatever y'all teaching in 40, I must get in 5. What they learning? Learning corporeal and spiritual measurings. How to measure in both. And distances, rotations, velocities, magnets, currents of vortices, roadways in the vortices, or how the vortices move, or their orbits, how they spin, the different parts of the spin, and which way is it moving. These are the roadways in the vortices, and how to measure vortices by their spiral force or centrifugal force. How to find the center and the periphery of vortices. And if he serves the full term of 40 years, he shall have the freedom of the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd commandment. That means if you master this, right? If you master this, entered in the college, if you master the college, you free from who's learning, creative, large body food transporter and food transporter and interfactor. You dig what I'm talking about? You master this, that's master. Don't none of this apply to you. Dope. Right? He shall freedom of the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd commandments, and all those places shall be forever open to him. And if he chooses to go into any of them, he shall do so, unless specially ordered to some other emergent place by his Lord or the God of his division. The 24th Divan law for the same spirit was, he shall now enter architecture. He never stop astounding you, bro. He gonna teach you how to build in spirit. You already know how to work the material. Now he gonna teach you architecture with the material, how to build up beautiful edifices and places and homes. And oh man, look at this. Out of the material that's around you. He shall now enter architecture as an apprentice and learn the building of heavenly mansions and cities. Cities got plumbing and lights and sewage, and you did what I'm talking. You got to learn a lot of stuff, and you got to learn how to build it. But this is what they teaching you. the building of heavenly mansion in cities, and he shall serve 8 years and be promoted to build judgment seats or thrones, right? For judges and thrones for gods, and serve another 16 years. Right here. After college, he's entered architecture. They got it as 18. It say 16. Judgment seat and throne builder. This is crazy. This is in the first resurrection. And he thrown for 16 years. The 25th Divan law for the same spirit was, he shall now be eligible to enter the school of light and darkness. What? The what? Hold on, let me blow this up a little bit, man. Let me get it good for my people, man. Let me get it good. The 25th Divan law for that same spirit, right? He shall now be eligible to enter the school of light and darkness. What? Yeah, bro, talk about higher learning. What? Keon Cooper say, though Africa has a rich history, Oahspe shows it has many false reports. The fuck are you talking about? Excuse the hell out of me. But what false report? Huh? Anyways, you dig what I'm talking about? Yeah. Wow. Bezel. Wow. Yeah. Don't tell me I'm going to be hooping. Yeah, you going to be hooping. Depicted from the snake and vulture on the headdress. What is it? Yeah. Though Africa, what? Rich Oahspe shows that it, though Africa has a rich history, Oahspe shows it has Africa. Okay. Africa has many false reports. I wouldn't even say that they false. I'm just saying, just as any tale, that be like saying Noah is false. No, Noah is a misunderstanding. You dig what I'm talking about? Noah is an allegorical tale. I wouldn't say Noah is not real, because when in fact Noah is a thing, he's just not a man. So the stories in Africa, because I got a whole idea. I'm going to break down the Orishas. I'm going to break down the Orishas for you and who I believe the Orishas to be. The stories through the false god Yoruba and through the false god Iga gets twisted over time. And many of these ancient Bantu type stories, right? Where a lot of even okay, Peter in the Nazarene scripture is called Kippah, right? Kippah itself is a Bantu name, Paleo-Phoenician. That is what they call Hebrew. Like Moses' departure out of Africa. Yeah, they told it in reverse. I also got an understanding and have been doing my study that Moses landed in Shechem-Mareth. They went west, not east. You dig what I'm talking about? And that Moses and them started coming over here in America during the Ark of Bond before slavery. And this is why the tale mixes in a 40-day, a 40-year jot. How much you want to bet that if you walk with about 3.5 million people, you dig what I'm talking about? Let's say by the time it's done, a pack of 2.5 million people, right? 3 million people, it'll take you 40 years to walk from Egypt to Utah. Remember, they didn't split the Red Sea. They split the Reed Sea. Well, where is the Reed Sea? The Reed Sea is the Ethiopic Sea. Where is the Ethiopic Sea? And how do we know the reed is a sign for Ethiops, right? That is the sign of Ethiop. So where is the reed or the Ethiopic Sea? It is the Atlantic. That's what Moses split. Remember, the brooks of Arnon are the headwaters of the Red Sea. So what did you do? A miracle at the beginning of the Red Sea, cross back over, and then cross back east again? Moses went to Utah. That's a whole nother subject. But look where we at, in the school of light and darkness. And you're going to learn the relative power of attraction and propulsion belonging to them. You can propel yourself off of light and darkness. Look at this. And this education here shall embrace, practice, and experiment. And he shall serve 70 years for the full course. After which, if he is proficient in creating light and darkness, look at this. You're going to learn how to create light and darkness. You ain't even to the lowest of the emancipated heavens. You in the lowest of the low. You ain't even two creators, emancipated gods yet. You ain't even that high. You ain't even in the second resurrection. And you already learning how to make light and darkness and how to propel yourself and instruments off this after a 70-year course. Now, after which, if he is proficient in creating light, so you're going to learn to create light and darkness, he shall be emancipated from the 24th and the 25th Divan laws, and all those places shall be open and free to him forever. So now they pass you, they beneath you. You mastered it. You got that. Been there, done that, got a t-shirt. So now you got everything that's below you. You ain't even out the first resurrection. Listen, this is still below the clouds and below. 35,000, 40,000 feet down. So from the plains down. You dig what I'm talking? This is the lowest part of the atmospheric heavens. This is hell. So when they tell you you in hell already, yeah, nigga. You ever seen a crackhead? That's eternal fire. Shout out to Tupac, man. The 26th Divan law for the same spirit was, he shall now serve 24 years in building and propelling boats and small ships. And the 27th Divan law was, hold on, let me get over here. 27 Divan law was, what was it, cuz? Similar, which was that He shall now travel 50 years in atmosphere and on the earth and on the oceans of the earth. This completed the primary education in the first resurrection. Hold on. You're going to build heavenly boats and ships and propellers and be a shipbuilder of heavenly boats. Let's look at some of the names of these great ships of light that you're going to be building. You dig what I'm talking about? We go back and look at the many types, you know what I mean, that one ends up learning how to build. You dig what I'm talking about? And the massive size of them. Some of them some of them are like Semia, right? The goddess Semia, right? Syrian goddess came back and picked up 2 billion people plus the billions that was with God. The god Apollo. And moved them off into the Etherian heavens, right? They said she had a ship that was twice the size of the moon. He driving a ship twice the size of a moon. But look, here goes some of the names of these ships that you're going to learn how to build right here in the class that you took for 24 years. Right? As a heavenly boat builder and ship propeller. Right? You're going to learn how to build Abatos, which is an aeroboat. An Atavasi, right? Which is what Semia was driving. You dig what I'm talking about? 2,000 miles wide. You dig what I'm talking about? Double the size of the moon. She come through cruising, banging. You know what I mean? What kind of... Them ain't no 24s. She ain't got no 28s, no 36s on that thing. An Atavasi, right? An Eravanya. An Eravanya is a sun ship. You dig what I'm talking about? An Atavasi is like a small world, but an Eravanya is like a sun. You dig what I'm talking about? Leah Bakatrava traveled for 400 million miles a day. 400 million miles a day in his Eravanya. You dig what I'm talking about? They got one called an Eriata. An Eriata, you dig what I'm talking about? I believe also deals with Erarat. And I'll get into that sometime too. And an Avalanza. You dig what I'm talking about? They have one called a being float. Right? That it floats by ballast. You know what I mean? Almost think like a blimp. Almost. You dig what I'm talking about? It floats by like balance. Being float. Right? They got one called a Kalios. That floats the same way. A cowpine. Right? A cowpine is like It's like a continent. That's the best way I can explain it. You dig what I'm talking about? Next one is called an Essaline, which is a fireboat. A Kolu, a Koalu, right? That's like a world. You dig what I'm talking about? You're going to learn how to build these things. A Konaya, right? My favorite, the Otivan. Nigga, with wings. Nigga, they got Otivans with wings. Nigga, you know I'm about to put some wings on my goddamn Otivan. I'm niggerish as fuck. I'm going to put some wings on my goddamn Otivan. I got to do it. Oh, Lord, what I'm missing? Moses killing the Egyptian, right? It's all fake. Cranium is growing from all this info. My Kufi. Roger Washington in the house. He said, I have been seeing a rise in the people that are around me since I have come into this truth. They can see and feel the different vibe. Shining true light, boy, Jaja working through you. Shout out to Roger Washington, man. That's right. That's what we do over here. We take the drop and the drooge, and by our example, we raise them up. Francis Peters say, Brother Keon Cooper, Moses never killed an Egyptian. I think you know that. I think that's what she's saying. Like the lie. Giving up the sign of the creator out the sunroof. And yes, indeed, banging it. You dig what I'm talking about? Throwing it up just like, yeah. You dig what I'm talking about? So when I meet the Ethereum gods and they throw me the sign of the creator, I'm going to throw the sign of the creator back, boy. Signs and symbols. What? Yeah. That's one of the false reports she was talking about. Yes, right. This was my point. Moses never killed no one. That's right. Bezel just shows how much purity and ascension are very important, right? And then after you build these boats, right? We gonna build us a boat. We gonna get us a Otivan, nigga. Nigga, they got one called an O-meter. An Obeja. It's like a float. A Pied Mazar. Right? And Portogan. And Orion. Guess what else is called? Guess what else is a ship? They've always told you it was an angel. But nope, it's what angels ride in. The Seraphim. The mighty fire ship. It's called a Seraphim. It's not an angel. They lied to you. This right here may be the overall reason, right, that they even got the idea of angels having wings. Because we know the mighty fire ship Seraphim got wings. Huh? Leo Baca, Thrava, Gangster. That's my nigga too, dog. He came through and told True God, you know what I mean? Listen, dog, partner, cool out. Don't get the big head, nigga. You dig what I'm talking about? 400 million miles a day. We cruising. Banging it. You dig what I'm talking about? Come through. You dig what I'm talking about? Holla at Tigger. What's up, Belzel? You dig what I'm talking about? Fire that thing up past Belzel, that thing. He like, man, go ahead. Turn that thing up, cuz. I'm going to turn it up like that. I'm going to say, Belzel, put your seatbelt on, baby, police around there. Yeah. I'm going to say, go ahead. I'm going to hit that knock on the niggas. Pull off. Action that thing looking like a comic. Yeah. They're coming through in the spaceship. Create a gang in it. You dig what I'm talking about? That's right. I'm glad I'm here with you. You dig what I'm talking about? Banging that thing. You know, here they come, cuz. Don't look at me. You did what I'm talking about. Look, nigga, we done graduated to the second resurrection. They come with that bullshit. Tell them niggas to make it. Check this out there. Out this motherfucker. See what I'm talking about? Hey. Yeah, just let it feel good for a minute. See what I'm talking about? Yeah, right back at it. We're going to finish up a little bit more. You dig what I'm talking about? We ain't going to run it too long tonight. You dig what I'm talking about? Get it in short, sweet, just showing what happens after death. Ain't no resting in peace. We just showed you the extent of the education just on the first level. But while we're here, we might as well get down onto the second resurrection. You dig what I'm talking about? Because this is the lower level. This is the lowest. You just made you an Adavacid fire ship in Oahspe. We cruising across the world. Going to visit all the places we wish we could have when we was live. Going seeing all the hidden places. Going seeing the ancient homes of the Ayans and the Ahuans. We can go back virtually in time. Open up the books of heaven and go there. And open up and see the living sons that lived during them times. If he fired that down to man to rewrite history and books, what must the angels be looking at? Yeah. Asking yourself questions makes your spirit strong. Admitting that you don't know, but trying to figure out about it, man, breeds levels of comprehension, but also raises spiritual rate. Right? We cruising around, right? We done passed the first resurrection. You dig what I'm talking about? 372. Now that I see that, it's 18, should be 16. 370 years in the first resurrection. But look what I didn't learn. Look what I didn't learn. All the way from a brand new spirit to a nigga who make boats and I'm cruising around the whole earth travel. I can create, do just about anything. But hold on. Many get right here. Right? Or right to the level of Lewis and Ashar. And look, we're gonna get down to this. We're gonna get down to this. We're gonna show first, right? We learned the other day, I think that was lesson 15, what a Lewis is. This is a spiritual geneticist. We learned what an Ashar is. This is an guardian angel. You learn what an Asaf is. This is an angel of the grades, placement. And remember, it was the Asaf who during your 2 years taught you how to move in the spirit world. Just like a new baby, taught you everything you needed to know. Then he put you in school as an intern apprentice. Then you became a craftsman and a nurse's assistant and an assistant to the physician. Then a nurse, then a physician, then an interfactor, then a food transporter, a large body transporter, a creative, a ooze learner, right? And then you enter college. After you master college, all this is open to you. Everything is open to you after you master college. Everything below you is open to you. You can go to these realms. You can mash out in these realms. But then you can enter into architecture and building thrones, judgment seats, and then enter the school of light and darkness where you can create light and dark. Oh my God. It says you learn how to propel off light and dark. Is that how you move these ships off of vortex? Yes, it is. And then you are an atmosphere travel. You travel through the heavens for 50 years. You travel on the earth for 50 years in the ship you built. You and the homies. Who with me? Who riding with me? Who gonna ride with me? Shebrew, you riding with me? Right? Chickville, you riding with me? Bronze Yo, you riding? Elijah, you riding? Bezel, you riding? Kevin Sears, you riding? Come on. Keon, you riding? Set Apart, you riding? Yarayaz, you riding? I'm telling you, we out this thing, man. Sherry Lynn, you riding? We gone, baby. Ascended Masters, that's right. We out of here. You dig what I'm talking about? We out of here. What my dog Elijah say? Let's ride. Y'all, let's ride. And we mount up, baby. Hey, you niggas out here slanging all that motherfucking dope in the hood and ain't got no snaps on the petrol. Yeah, that's right. Riding and got ducats on the fuel, baby. We got vortex here. We gonna fuel our ship off love. Huh? Emotion is vortex. It just told you light can propel a ship. You dig what I'm talking about? Let's get into it just a little bit more. Chapter 4, the Book of Divinity. Right? It's the Book of Divinity. God said, for the spirit of a Zarathustrian or Faithist, who has completed his primary education at 370 years, right? At 370 years, it's the very first resurrection, right? What then? He said, Zarathustra like me. He's like, okay, nigga, I get through this. Then what we about to do after this, nigga? On which all the members spoke. After that, Div, right, is true God of the Divan, or the Divan lawmakers, the 12, the 11 of the council, the one head angel of the Divan is the Div, who is true God at the time, and who has been consecrated by Fergopati, if I'm not mistaken. Right. It may even be at this time Hoab. Don't quote me on that. I'm just trying to put it together, but I'll go back and see. I'm sure Oahspe reveals that, and I'm just not recalling it right this second. Okay. So God asked a question. Okay, shit, nigga, what happened to the niggas after they graduate the first resurrection? Right? They say, he shall serve 200 years as an apprentice Lewis. A Lewis is a spiritual geneticist. They put the proper people together to produce the proper type of individual needed to go on and mate with another person, right? And they have a child of higher birth who goes on to meet another person who was breeded by another Lewis over here, and they get together and produce a child of higher birth. Till you have certain people with spiritual talents. And then you get people like Poe and Iwata and Abram and Brahma, Chinese and Kapilia, Sakaya, aka the real Buddha. You dig what I'm talking about? No, boy, actually, he's not the real Buddha. He's falsely called Buddha. Nobody could be Buddha or all knowledge except the creator. That's what makes you know that Buddha, as a representation of a deity, is false. He shall serve 200 years as a Lewis. He shall become proficient in the knowledge of procreation of mortals. Learning how to prophesy or look forward to what the offspring will be according to the parentage. You see, it's a geneticist. He's putting A with B to produce a C. He's going to put a C with a D to produce an E. You see what I'm saying? You know what's coming because he's learning to be proficient. Looking forward, so they already know what the outcome will be of the parentage. This is the job of a Lewis. To become wise and discerning how the S, or the spirit of a living mortal, governs the flesh, to good or to evil. How the S of a mortal controls the sex and ultimate size, health, and strength of an offspring. So that's why. So that means if people born during times of Aja, or times when the planet is taken in. See, we are currently in a time of Jaya, a time of disease where things are being taken away from the planet. So you have diseases and epidemics and mass amounts of death from seemingly nothing. You know what I mean? It seems like a speeding up or a degradation because we are in a time where things are being taken away from the planet. There's a time where light and darkness are given or taken away to the planet. This is the Aja, the Jaya, the nebula, and the ether. Good sip of that wah-wah. Right? So you will become wise in discerning how the spirit of a living thing, mortals, governs, or the spirit of a living mortal governs the flesh to good or to evil. How the spirit, or the S of a mortal, controls the sex male or female, the ultimate size, big or small, health and strength of the offspring. The more, this is your knowledge of 666, 66.6% or less, right? Of angelic spirit, or S, all right, makes you more bigger. The more spirit you have, the smaller you are. The less spirit you have, the larger you are. 66% of Earth DNA or more, you are large and like the Earth. Tending downwards, less than 66.6% Earth DNA, you are more like a man and angelic, and you become smaller. This is why 666 is the mark of the beast and the number of the man, or the line between man and beast. So if you have 50% angelic DNA and 50% Earth DNA, you are going to be small. The more I creep that spirit down in size to 33% spirit, 66% Earth, makes me larger. The more I tend towards the middle, the smaller I get. And the more health problems I have. Because of size. And my body literally holding all that spirit in it. Because what does corpore tend to do? At all times, uncorpore itself. So having more spirit in you tends you to death faster. It ages the flesh. So that man of 58% Earth DNA, 42% angelic DNA is coming towards that. And see, in the time of Cosmon, we are leaning towards the spirit and the flesh catching up perfectly to where man is large and very spiritual all at the same time. This is why this era is called balance. Cosmon in the house. All right. To learn which the Lewis shall take him to thousands of mortals, and he shall make a record of what he has under observation. And when those mortals have offspring born to them, he shall make a record of it, and he shall observe the character of the birth and the foundation of the child, together with what conditions surrounded the mother of the child. And he shall follow that child till it has grown up, and it is also married and begotten a child or children, and so on to the 6th generation, 200 years. This is the 28th Divan law. Div decree, right? So let's look again. Here we go. We went from the first resurrection, and we find ourselves smack dab in the second resurrection. Off the earth. You dig what I'm talking about? I want to kind of get a visual for you. Let me see. Do I have? I may have this in here. I thought I did. Let me look. I might have a picture of the first, second, third resurrection. Is this it? Let me see. All right, I'm trying to lock this in real quick for y'all. Shout out. Yeah. Swing down. I'm be banging it. You dig what I'm talking about? Sweet chariot, stop and let me ride. Banging it. You dig what I'm talking about? Let me get back here real quick. Hope y'all can see that. First resurrection, all the way down to the earth. These are the plateaus of the spheres called heaven. You dig what I'm talking about? As you see here, first resurrection, second resurrection, third resurrection up here by Shinvat, or the border of the vortex. Right? And look at the earth. And this is the atmosphere of the earth. In the first resurrection, go all the way down here to the beginning of the earth. And the first resurrection actually lays on the earth. You know what I mean? So I just kind of wanted to give you a little visual of that. Let's get back up in here to the second resurrection. Dang, this thing slow. Got greenbacks on the field, Browns. Yo, that's right. You dig what I'm talking about? Real Cupid and real stuff. Stork, yeah. Dropping them off. Got greenbacks on the field. That is a great depiction. Yeah. Wow, man. Why is this thing so slow? Hold on, let me see. Let me stop it. And then we reopen it. There we go. Here we go. Let's blow it up. Why ain't it moving? Okay, here we go. We over here, right? In the 200 years of the second resurrection, you then did 370 years, graduated out of the first resurrection into the second resurrection. You become an angel geneticist for 200 years. You learn how to breed, man, and what is the result of putting certain people and people types together, and how to put certain peoples together to produce a wanted result. What is good as a prophet without followers? You dig what I'm talking about? So when they produce the prophet, they not only produce the prophet, they produce the followers. Okay? So let's go back to Oahspe. Right? After he has served 200 years, he shall be examined by his Lord. Look at it again. And look, there is a Lord over all. You just did 570 years in the first and second resurrection. And there is still somebody over you, higher than you, at a rank higher than you. You just at the rank of Lewis, right? But you done did that 200 years, and look what we find. There's still higher steps, ranks, levels, positions, titles. He shall be examined by his Lord. Who is this Lord that they keep talking about? They keep giving these examinations. Or his Lord's deputy. Oh, he got a nigga riding for him, gonna bust the pistola for him. And if proficient in prophesying to the 6th generation, he shall be entered as an Ashar. Oh. On a list of 4 12s for every moon change. You're going to do 4 12s in a week. $48 hours in a week. From Sabbath to Sabbath by every moon change. But the 48 Ashars shall not be Ashars to more than 192 mortals, or that's 4 apiece, unless otherwise specially allotted by the Lord or God in dominion. For 4 generations. How long is 4 generations, y'all? 132 years. Of 133 years, you add the 1. Okay, you did what I'm talking about. You add the 1. You add the 1 after the 3rd one. So 133 years. 132. Add the 1 after the 3. Add another 1 after the 6. That's how you get 200. 300. Okay. For 4 generations of 133 years, he shall serve as an Ashar, or a guardian angel. But that's after you become a Lewis. And he shall learn to have dominion over his mortal proteges, night and day, not letting them, however, know of his presence, to accomplish which he shall begin with his proteges in their first infancy. So if there's a first infancy, there must be a second one. We just read about it, the 2 years of being a new spirit, called an insane. But it's how you want to enter that 2 years. As a baby, level 1, below the grave. Is that how you want to enter it? Or do you want to enter it standing tall as a man, as a woman, ready to learn? Huh? They teach you how to get around in your heavenly abode. You dig what I'm talking about? They say you got mansions and apartments and places for you to go and people for you to see and things for you to do. You're not gonna be up here lollygagging around. Look at it. You gonna be a guardian angel and Ashar for 133 years. You're gonna work with it. You're gonna work with your protege. Remaining with them while they sleep. Look at this. Talking to the spirit of the mortal. How do you talk to the spirit of a mortal? While the man is asleep. Dreams. Huh? Teaching and persuading. Is this why you will have the same damn dream? You did what I'm talking about. Till you figure out what it is that you're supposed to learn from this dream, you will have the same dream over and over and over. Does that happen to anybody else besides me? You dig what I'm talking about? If till you learn your lesson that you have in your dream, right? Do you keep having dreams? The same dream? I do. So that must mean dreams are not necessarily innate or come from inside or from your mind. They must come from the mind of the Ashar, right? But we know they aren't just flashing this in your mind, they're using some sort of technology. You dig what I'm talking about? To show you the dream. Because you ever woke up from a dream, something was happening, nigga was chasing you or some shit? You woke up from the, or you was flying. I had this one a lot too, where I'd be flying and I'll wake up from the dream like, man, that's crazy. And then you go back to sleep and you pick up in the dream right where you left off at. Come on, man. I can't be the only one, man. Give me a 4 in the chat, man. If that has happened to you, if you didn't went to sleep dreaming one thing, went back to sleep and picked up right where the dream left off at. You dig what I'm talking about? Throw me a 4 in the chat if you didn't went to sleep, had a dream, woke up from the dream, and went back to sleep, and picked right back up where the dream left off at. Throw me a 4 in the chat. I do that flying. I do that. A nigga always be chasing me with a gun too. Nigga be chasing me with a gun, man. I'm fast, man, too, man. Nigga be on me, man. I can't never run in my dream, man. You dig what I'm talking about? But I pick right back up where that dream left off at, man. And you be like, damn, man, I thought I was about to shake this nigga. Damn. I brought him right back. You know what I mean? But, you know, let me get back to it real quick and Oahspe. Divan decree, having served a full term of Ashar, 133 years, which is 4 generations plus a year, per the timetables of prophecy, right? Having served the full term of an Ashar, he shall be entitled to examination. There is a movie, man, it's a pretty decent movie, but the premise of the movie is dope. And let me see, let me throw this up here real quick. Now, the premise of the movie is simply this, that you have angels who watch over you, right? It's a Chinese movie. I can't remember the name of it. And they watch over the person, and when the person dies, like in Ashar, they take them to a place to be judged. You know what I mean? The soft take the Ashar and the person to a place to be judged, and the judge is convinced either way to pass you on to the next level, or you either be bound in hell or gotta go back to learn what I can't remember the name of the movie, but the premise is just like in the heavens. It's a Chinese movie. The guy, his brother, accidentally killed a dude or what it was is his brother accidentally got killed. You dig what I'm talking about? And then dude died, and he died in that vengeful Trojan state. Asaf had to go fight the spirit. You dig what I'm talking about? It's dope. I can't remember the name. Along Came the Gods. Is that what it is? It's an Asian movie, got Asian actors in it. The guy was a firefighter. You dig what I'm talking about? Yeah, Elijah 7, that's what it's called. Along Came the Gods. Y'all check that movie out, man. If y'all want to learn what an Asaf and an Ashar do with the let me look at that. Let me try to get a quick look at that real quick, because that is a dope movie. Along, what is it called again? Along Came the Gods. Okay, hold on one second. I just want to give y'all a quick look at this. You know what I mean? Oh, actually, I don't even know why I did that. I can do this. Hold on one second, y'all. Oh, they got a movie called Along Came the Gods 2 and 3. Oh. Along with the Gods. That's what it's called. Along with the Gods. You dig what I'm talking about? Dig this. I ain't gonna play. No. Let me see. It says the dead are tortured in 7 trials of hell before reincarnation. Well, we know about reincarnation, but we kind of want to show you. This is the movie trailer. Let me see. We can get this going for you. Let me turn down the bump a little bit. You know, we was knocking, pulling up to grandma's house. You better turn that down. You dig what I'm talking about? Let me see. Along with the Gods. The 2 worlds. Yeah, Elijah. Yeah. Yeah, boy. Look, that's the Asaf and the Ashar. The girl is his Ashar, his guardian. The Asaf is getting him where he gotta go. Look, check it out.
돈 때문이었습니다.
잘못된 신을 섬긴 놈이다.
정의로운 망자라면서. 조관장님, 업경을 한번 봐주시길 간청드립니다. 지옥이 와라!
시간까지 빨라지고 있어요.
죄송합니다. 차사들은 잘 들어라. 원기가 소멸되지 않나. 김정의 재판은 계속해서 위험에 처할 수밖에 없다. 저승법을 어기는 겁니까? 넌 내 명령을 어기고 있는 거고. 차사는 이승의 일에 개입할 수 없다. 진짜 당신들은 해줄 수 있잖아요.
You see the Asaf and the Ashar getting the spirit where it needs to be through what they say is 7 trials, or you go to hell. You gotta pass basically the 7 tetrics, or you go to hell, or the 7 deadly sins.
당신 아직 죄인 아닙니다.
It's a dope movie, y'all. Go check it out. You dig what I'm talking about? Go check that out. I ain't gonna front. You dig what I'm talking about? They have a full English version too. You ain't for people who I like to read the subtitles personally, but you know what I mean. I'm weird like that. You know, it is what it is. But that is a dope movie, With the Gods. Go check it out. You know what I mean? The premise, once you actually know the real structure and what's going on with let's get another little quick look. You dig what I'm talking about? Because he dies, right? And he dies in a tragic way, but he dies saving a man. You dig what? Well, he saved a few people and jumped out a window and died of smoke inhalation. He tried to save his homeboy. Look. He had a baby in his hand. Look. The little girl get up. He get up. Watch this. He died tragically and suddenly. He don't know he dead. Watch this. This is fair use for educational purposes only. Fair use for educational purposes only. Thumb up the video. Look at his Ashar and his Asaf. Look, the little girl is his Ashar. She looking over him. Look.
야, 아니 어떻게 저기서 그냥 뛰어내릴 생각을 다 했어? 죽으려고? 겁도 없이? 어?
이렇게 높은 곳에서 다른 사람하고 떨어져서 장렬하게 운명. 휘, 장렬하게 운명하신 거.
Look at that, the Asharic record.
감동입니다, 김정씨.
Don't they say your Ashars write the record of a person's life? Come to find out the Paragon.
김정씨께서는 2017년 4월 28일 예정대로 무사히 사망하셨습니다. 저희는 저승에서 피고이자 망자이신 김정우 씨에게 앞으로 49일 동안 진행될 구급 재판의 변호와 경호를 맡은 저승 참차사입니다.
난 재판 몰라요. 경호 담당 1층 차사예요.
보조 변호사 월치차사 덕진이
Look at him. Looking at himself. He dead. He don't feel no different.
아주 자연스러운 질문이야. 다른 한 분은 지금 아저씨 장례식장에 있어. 이건 절차긴 한데 밥 먹으러 가는 거야.
Look at this.
아저씨 뭐해?
I bet you that'll make you bug out. You dig what I'm talking about? You get to tripping too.
낯설고 서툴고 넌 그런 거야. 아니.
But look how the angels look just like they look. Because angels are one-time men. Gods are angels. It's just a rank, a title, a position.
어머니를 한 번만 보고 갈게요. 제가 할 말이 있어서 그래요, 어머니께.
초심은 또 어쩔 거야.
제발요 부탁드립니다. 어머니가
For educational purposes only. Fair use. I just wanted to give you a little visual on that. You dig what I'm talking about? We're not going to get into that all day. You dig what I'm talking about? But let's get back to Oahspe a little bit. And let's build on it. Let's talk on it. You dig what I'm talking about? We're going to try to get through this real quick, right? And having served the full term of Ashar, he shall be entitled to the examination by his lord or deputy. But now a new type of examination begins, which is that the examination pertains to his proteges. Remember, the Ashar, the little girl, was overlooking dude, her protege, right? As to what kind of fruit or man, right, he is sent to heaven, his protege. The grade of the assailants being the standard. This was the 30th Divan law. Right? Hold on, let me move this over. Div decreed, having passed the examination of Ashar, he shall now be promoted to Asaf, where he shall serve 66 years. So that brings you to 199. You add one, so it makes it 200, right? As Asaf, where he shall serve 66 years. Here again, his examination shall be not of himself, but of the harvest of his department. So, an Asaf runs a group of Ashar and grades and takes the spirit under the groups that he has oversight over his Ashar into heaven, and it is by that rate of the people coming off the earth that the Asaf is judged, right? Here again, the examination, here it goes, shall be not of himself, but of the harvest of his department. This was the 31st Divan law. Div decreed, his examination being complete, he shall now receive emancipation from all preceding departments and decrees. He shall have his choice in all places he has passed, unless otherwise specially detailed to his Lord or God of his division. This was the 32nd Divan law. Div decree, he shall now be entitled to enter the chapter of the primary soul. This, his first lessons. Listen to this. Listen to this. This is dope. His first lesson shall be in colors and sounds, both of corpor and s, or physical sounds and spiritual sounds. First, beginning with gray of not more than 3 combinations. So you're going to be mixing sounds of gray and colors of gray that produce lights of gray. It's all vortex. Listen, these boys is up here. They mastering stuff, man, that will blow your mind. And when he has mastered these grays, he shall have 4, then 5, then 10, then 100, and so on, until when any combination of colors is placed before him, he can instantly perceive every color, shade, and tint, and the apparent velocity of light, and its force, which is actinic, or means, how do I explain actinic? It means it's the force that's born with it. And its force emanating. And he shall pursue his study until he can create in spirit, the counterpart of anything incorporeal: fish, birds, people, mountains, water, lakes, anything that's physical, worlds, moons, nebulas, quasars, galaxies. Till you can counterpart in spirit anything in flesh or in the physical world, or create in physical world the counterpart of anything in spirit. And of sounds he shall proceed in the same way, first learning a combination of three, so that when his teacher produces any three, listen to this. Listen to the stuff you're learning in the second resurrection. Any three sounds or notes together, he can hear them and determine the exact velocity or color or light or sound of the wave of the vortexia. So when I say not only can you see blue, not only can you hear blue, you can taste blue, and you can feel blue. This is what they try to explain to you. You can taste blue. You can hear blue. And these sounds give off colors, which by the wave or the level of visible or invisible light, or its speed, right? Slower being in the red, faster vibrating being in the indigo, right? By its rate or its color or its sound, which are all the same thing, so is that thing perceived by the different organs of your body, right? But you'll be able to tell different colors of blue by how they sound. Listen to that. Then he shall begin with 4 sounds, then 5 sounds, then 10 sounds, then 100, and even 1,000, which even though made in the same instant, he shall detect every one of them. Look at this. Super hearing. Supersonic. He's supersonic. That nigga supersonic. It's like, hit him, baby D. I like to get a deal. Don't make the deal. Don't chicken bag. Hey man, I'm old, man. Y'all gotta mind. Don't mind me. I'm burnt a little bit too, just around the edges though. So even though made in the same instant, 1,000 sounds, he shall detect every one, and the velocity or the speed of the wave. All right? The speed of physical light and sound and force of each. This was the 33rd Div decree. He shall now begin the practice of combining and creating color by sound. Listen. and sounds by color, both in corpore and in spirit. His teachers shall make explosions. Listen what's going on in the heavens. My sister say, do you know what goes on in the heavens? I say, yeah. She say, if I had heavens on my chest, heavens on my chin, would they be heaven? Never mind, no, I ain't gonna go there. You dig what I'm saying? But yeah, look at Oahspe, taking the fear away, adding knowledge. Look what's going on. You couldn't have thought this up. No man could have, JBN couldn't have thought this up. He shall now begin the practice of combining and creating color by sound. Remember that music? Look, remember this? Remember they gave you that music, craftsmanship, way down here, enter the apprentice, right? You got that music and all that. Look, oh, way over here. And you can't even get out of here till you get up out of here. You dig what I'm talking about? When you done, you done. Look, that's why it ain't no years. Many people in the second resurrection, right here, entered in the chapter of the primary soul. Right? Look what they doing though. Making color by sounds and sounds by color in spirit and in corporal. His teacher shall make explosions with light and explosions without light. Huh? And by using only his eye and ear, he shall be able to determine the elements by which the explosions were made. So by the level and type of explosion, he's going to be able to tell you the chemical basis. Not only the chemical basis, at what speed they're moving, what light level they're producing, what is its force by the explosion, and be able to tell you the color and the sound and hence position of where it's at without using your eyes or your ears. Look at this. Jaja is nuts. He's out of his mind. Sometimes I sit back and think, you got to really think, what don't Creator do? What don't this nigga think of, man? He too damn smart. But I need you that way, Creator. Because you keep pulling me up to a higher light. And then you give me this light so I can turn around and help other people raise up. Ain't that dope? What else should a father be? Huh? And listen, they said they're going to make explosions with and without light. How you get an explosion with no light? Try to explode something with no light. And by using only his eye and his ear, remember he's in spirit, so he's using spiritual eyes and spiritual ears, he shall be able to determine the elements by which the explosions were made. Not only he can tell what they made, he can tell what color they produced and what elements they made by what the sound was and what the color it produced. It's crazy. Create out his mind. He shall go far away from the explosions. And when the waves come to him, sound waves, right? Even though he does not hear the explosion, he shall be able to determine by the waves of what distance the explosion was made, and whether in light or darkness, and if in light, what colors were manifested. This is the 35th Divan law. My sister asked me, what would they be doing in heaven? She asked me, man, what they be doing in heaven, man? Clowning. These niggas out there goddamn rabbit. And he shall now receive instruction in the sounds of conversation. Look what they teaching you to do. This only in the second resurrection. You ain't even got off the earth all the way. You just midway. And you in the midway of the midway. First, you in middle school. You ain't even in high school yet. You just got out of elementary. You in 7th grade. In the second, wait a minute. Now you receive instruction in the sounds of conversation. First, his teacher shall cause him to hear 2 people conversing at the same time, missing nothing that is said. Then 3, then 4, then 5, then 10. Look how they building you up. It's almost like martial arts. You dig what I'm talking about? They start you out and you just keep pressing you till you get better and better and better. Then 100 and then 1,000 voices, but no greater number in this department. Look, but you by the time you get up out of here, 1,000, you're gonna be able to hear 1,000 people, 1,000 auditory voices differentiate everything that was said and who said it and in what matter it was said. 1,000 people. You ain't even out the second resurrection. What the hell can God do then? And remember, it's a Lord over you still. Who is the Lord? We're gonna show who the Lord is real quick. What do I do with my Oahspe? That's in the book of Jehovih. Oh shit. Oh. Man. Sorry, y'all. I accidentally dropped the damn Oahspe on my keyboard, and it got me off of where I was. But I wanted or is it the book of certainties? I believe it to be the book of certainties, but I'm trying to get back here to the book of divinity. It goes in 3. About 22. Okay. I think we're in chapter 3. No, it's in chapter 4. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay, where we was at? Right here. Okay. So we was right here. And here 2 people conversing at the same time, then 4, 5, 6, 5, then 10. And let me hide this. And then 100 and then 1,000, but no greater number in this department. This was the 36th Divan law. Div decreed, he shall now analyze waves of voice in which he cannot hear the sounds. His teacher shall station him in a certain place and cause him to read the waves of light and sound that come to him, so that he knows not only the words spoken, but the kind of person speaking or singing. Listen, this is how a prayer is heard. What? This was the 37th Divan law. His teacher shall now cause him to read the ways of light and sound emanating from 2 persons talking at the same time, from whom he cannot hear. And he shall understand not only the words spoken, but the kind of person speaking. Then he shall read the waves in the same way for 3 persons, then 4, then 8, and then 100, and then 1,000. And this was the 38th Divan law. Div decreed, then he shall be taken near a battlefield where mortals are in deadly conflict, and he shall be stationed far enough so that he does not hear, stationed far enough so that he does not hear the sounds, but when the waves come to him, he shall read them and know the number of the men in battle, the kinds of weapons in use, and the cause of contention. This was the 39th Divan law. Ever stepped out on the block and knew some shit was about to happen? You can almost smell the death in the air. Nigga, step back in the cut, man. Get back in the crib real quick. Get to looking out. Next thing you know, happen every time. Yeah, that's clicking on. That Suis is clicking on that ability to read the vibe. This was the 39th Divan law. He shall now be promoted to a messenger between lords between lords and gods. This was the 40th Divan law. Div decreed for 400 years, or for 100 years, he shall serve as messenger. And at the end of that time, his lords and gods shall render his record and promote him to marshal. So now you got another title, messenger. They always talk about angel is a messenger. Not all angels are messengers, because you got angels over them, like marshals. And who run the marshals? Where you even get this title from? As above, so below. There are only marshals on earth because there are marshals in heaven. There are only chiefs on earth because there are chiefs in heaven. And at this, his emancipation from all the preceding degrees and departments shall be open. These latter to him, to choose whatever department he desires, except on such time and occasion as especially required by his Lord. What Lord? Or God? This one that he ain't been able to reach yet. Boom. What it say right here? I want to say, is this the book of Jehovah? No, I think it's the book of Certainties. I think it's the book of Certainties where it says that the Lord is the lowest of the emancipated angelic beings. He ain't raised high, but he's still over all you niggas. All the lowest of the one Lord over all y'all. Bossing up. You got to get out the second resurrection to get to this level. Just to be, when you're getting out the second resurrection, you'll be at the level of Lord. You'll be Lord Lil Fauntleroy, Lord Calvin. They will call me Lord Cosman. Thank you, sir. You dig? Charlie Ho. Can I have a spot of tea? You dig what I'm talking about? Hit them niggas with the spot of tea. You dig what I'm talking about? Look at this here. Look at this here. 699 years. Hopefully. You dig what I'm talking about? You can bang it out. 200 years as a spiritual geneticist. 200 years as a spiritual bodyguard. 200 years as a spiritual caseworker. 200, however long it take. When you enter the chapter of the primary soul, it's a zero right there because it don't say. Till you master that, ain't no being no messenger. You just a messenger. You're an errand boy. You're a gopher. You ain't out the second resurrection. But then you become a marshal for 200 years working under a Lord who has been working you since in the saying. Y'all, it would just been the same Lord, or over time, Lord is, but it's a Lord over you. And he the lowest, the low of the low in the food chain in Oahspe, of the emancipated angels in Oahspe, the angels with authority in Oahspe. He the lowest one, the Lord. But the Lord tell you to praise him in the Bible. Huh? In Oahspe, it's cleared up. We would never praise a Lord. If I can get there, what's this, 1,072 years, 71 years? Huh? That's God. Because see, at right this level, many people get the big head. Like a hooter. He got the big head at Lord status. He was just out the second resurrection. He ain't even went nowhere yet. But he got the big head. Ashar got to this level of the second mastered the second resurrection. Shit, you did what I'm talking about. Ashar, after becoming like a wandering spirit, he wandered through the galaxy. You dig what I'm talking about? They say he went to far out worlds, not just in the heavens. So he may have even, he must have been just in the heavens, because ain't no way you gonna become a bridegroom to Jehovah and turn back. But it is at this level, Ashar. changed over. It is this level Osiris flipped, or Chilemon flipped over. It is at this level that Anubai, aka Achongli, flipped. It is at this that Tien and Sugga flipped. It's here Wawicha flipped. It's here that Ashtaroth flipped. Look at all the stuff you learned. Oh, you got the big head right here. You not even out the first resurrection. You out the second resurrection, and you got the big head. You dig what I'm talking about? Shit, I don't need no creator. I can do this on my own, nigga. Shit, nigga. I'm the Lord, nigga. Do this shit. You dig what I'm talking about? Now, let's imagine your computer screen. Right? This is the galaxy and all that stuff and all the universe and all this. Everything in your computer screen would be all creation, right? Right? This nigga get right past here to the second resurrection. Right? And lose their mind and come down back to the earth. But everything, now look at this, everything outside of your screen and all creation is the creator. But he then went right up here to the second resurrection and think he done did something. Now I'm coming. I'm Christ. I'm Yahweh Akkad. I am Baal. I am Osiris. I am Anu. I am Marduk. I am Shamash. I am Astarte. I am Athena. I am Odin. I am Cernunnos. I am Heru. I am Ptah. I am Prajapati. I am Rava. I am Ravana. You dig what I'm talking about? I am Ganesha. In Indra. You dig what I'm talking about? I get up here and get the big head and come back down and oppress men. And it's these angels. No different than you and me in time to come. They come back down and tell you they God. Ask for sacrifice. Ask for prayer. Ask for blood sacrifice. Ask for human sacrifice. You dig what I'm talking about? To bound you to them in their doctrine in this life and as a slave in the next life. Because as we see, he ain't even God. He ain't even the Lord God. This is what they don't understand. You got to graduate out the third resurrection to even get to Lord God. You got to be Etherian. Ain't no falling off after you graduate the third resurrection. You one with you bride or bridegroom with Jehovah. Ain't no falling off. Oh no. Ain't no coming back. This is ethereal. You have been purified by the time you graduate out here into the Etherian heavens. The Creator say that is your inheritance. I want to find this. Where it speaks of the Lord. Okay. I don't Let me get into my other O. You dig what I'm talking about? Let me look up in here. Let me get y'all a little vibe going real quick. And leave you out there hanging like that. Let me knock a little something. Let me pull this up for y'all real quick. And I wanted to bring this to you, like I said. This is Book of Septuagint. Yeah, let me make sure. No, this is the Book of Jehovah 7. And look what it say. Let me show you. You stop sharing. Let me share this other screen with you. Now this rank, Lord. That's been over you, ranking higher than you for over 1,072 years. That every time that it came to it, this nigga was bossing up over your life. Look at who he is when it comes down to it. And y'all praise this nigga, all y'all biblical niggas. Anybody who rock with Bible, shit, you dig what I'm talking about? Shout out to the Essenes and Nazarenes who catching on. You dig what I'm talking about? And know that shit got tampered with. But y'all gotta know that. But then you gotta read the book. So when it say Lord and God, y'all know that it was played with. So you insert Yahweh. You insert Creator. And then see if it start making sense. You dig what I'm talking about? But you gotta have the understanding of the ranks of the angels. if you think God is the creator just because somebody told you it was, well, that's just proof you a person in darkness. But look, and God shall appoint, right, a chief, right? God, the ruler of the heavens and the earth, and his kingdom, which is called heaven, shall appoint chiefs under him, who shall go down and dwell on the earth. Why? Because they the lowest of the low niggas. Let's go on to prove that. That's why you got to go down with stanky mortals. And the labor of these chiefs shall be with mortals for their resurrection. These Ashars, these Asafs, all these are under this guy, this chief of the low people who come down here and work with mortals. And this chief shall be called lords. These chiefs shall be called lords, for they are gods of land, which is the lowest rank of my commissioned God. Look at this. And God and his Lord shall have dominion from 200 years to 1,000 years or more, but never more than 3,000 years, according to the regions of Dan, into which I bring the earth. So shall the terms be for the offices of my gods and my lords. Huh? And they tell you to fear the Lord. We ain't fearing no man. We don't fear the Creator. We love him enough to respect him and walk in his way. So there's no need for fear. So why would we worry about the Lord when you the low nigga on the totem pole? I'll go to big bro God and he'll beat your ass. And that's just the homie. We don't praise him neither. We know what God do. He constantly giving away. He not taking. He don't want no praise. He want to help. He want to give. He want to do the good work. And when you understand the ranks of angels, when you finally break down and read Oahspe, when you get over your prejudgment, your hatred, and join this creator gang, your eyes and your soul will be open. Huh? You the book. You gotta read it. Sometimes you need a little secondhand inspiration. You need it. Sometimes it don't come direct. Sometimes it's indirect. But then at that point, you must judge it. You must read it and judge it. You know what I mean? So we ain't even got through it all. We ain't even went through the whole Divan laws, but we got through the first and second resurrections. So my sister, she grew. Big bro got you. She said she want to know what happens in the heavens after you die. What do you do to the time of harvest? Huh? She say, Bible and the biblical God don't give us no light on it. It just promises that it's dead. But it don't break down the who, what, when, where, how, and why. The how of it. The who of it. They don't do that. God's mind? Oh yeah, I will. Yeah. Get down to the truth of things. Bring it out and don't just talk to people, man. We're not talking at you. You know what I mean? We bring it out. And then if you got any questions on it, let me show you why I believe what I believe. Because if I show you this thing, listen, this why you gotta worry about people who won't read Oahspe. This thing is a child's book. It's got a couple long names in it, but the ideas in it, especially when you get back to the book of book of divinity, the book of the real meat and ideology of Oahspe, because it's not a religion. And it's not trying to take your old religion. So anybody who won't read the ABC 1, 2, 3 of creation, watch out for that nigga. He ain't right. This a baby can understand this. You can read the book of inspiration, the book of judgment to your child, and they can understand it. It's so clear. Created the easiest thing to understand. He say he the most adorable. He come to the low. The people who oppressed. Many of them couldn't read, so he had to be understandable very quickly, easily, without great oratory, without great knowledge. He had to be able to be understood in the soul of a thing. So he had to be very easy. This is why you get the story of a man in a flood with 8 people going on to populate the goddamn planet. With every 2 of every animal, 7 of every animal, mind you. You dig what I'm talking about? Because it had to be dumbed down. Man had to receive what he could understand at that time. So the idea, you could still learn from it over time without being able to read. But when the story was told, we get the ideals picked up and purposely placed within the story. And then on top of that, it comes from a real instance. This why the allegory. The real instance was for you to remember a thing. Okay. So, you want to know, see, it's that thing with Oahspe. Man, it ain't nothing damn near nothing you don't touch on or nothing you can't really shake or rattle. Once you got a hold of this, man, boy, you got a love for Jaja in you. But then, this the great part. You don't have to know none of this. Do good works. Purity of mind, purity of thought. The purity of body, the dietary law. That's how you purify your body. Hold fast to the dietary law. Do good works. That's it. Creator say, I am sufficient for all my creation. I don't need no help. You gonna help because you respect me, because I'm daddy. Oh. Yeah, let's see what's going on. Let's go back up a little bit. Mama slapped me one time and tasted red. Makes sense to me. You too young, can't be about that. You crazy. Brian's young in the house. Elijah, no mortal man, no. What you got going on? Ain't he? Ain't he good? Indeed, the Creator is magnificent and sublime. That's right. Now that's a great Father. Yes, right. You dig what I'm talking about? What he say? You haven't already hit that like button. Praise Jehovah, the Creator, man. Come on, man. Hit that like button. Get the likes up. Share. Subscribe to the channel. Cosmon Cal TV. You dig what I'm talking about? Sub, like, share, man. Who else gonna tell you? For real, who else is gonna tell you what's gonna happen in heaven and give you a reasonable, laid out thing? Hey, if nothing else, you don't gotta believe it. Nobody asking you to believe nothing. I ain't forcing nothing over here. Give me something better. What do you say? Brandon Carter say. They say we use about 10% of our brains. The other 90 must be for graduation. Yeah, man. Elijah say, peace, beloved. Finally got a head off. May the Creator bless y'all. Yes, indeed. Elijah 7. On the lookout. Shalom, beloved. At Elijah 7. May you have blessed stuff today. Where are these? What he say? That remind me of the Bruce Almighty scene. He started hearing prayers and going crazy. He heard them all at the same time. Yes, indeed. That was in the house. She Brew was in the house dancing. Whirlwinds. Yeah, Vortex is in the chat. Shout out for everybody coming through, man. I think we gonna end it on that one. Dig what I'm talking about. Boy Cosmonian. Hey. Tapping in from the nebula. Dig what I'm talking about. Slide out into the deep. Like the show, man. Sub, like, share, man. That's what it is. That's what it is. Shout out our boy here. For a rack of muscle team. Called Big Man Team. The Bobo Shanti. Beat me hard. Deny you beat me man. Beat me hard. It's the I and I, man. Breathe in, right? Breathe in. Breathe out. And y'all know me, Cosma. I am out.
And oh yeah, put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feeling up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feel it up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you breathing rarefied air, oh, just that job BFF, that chow mein, that palpable, that towel main. Since sun south in the arc of Wayne, my brain moving like Tao Sane. So ass above, it's so below, that up and that down thing. This flow is atmospheric, I call that a ground game. See, water is knowledge, so if I'm teaching, you're learning. So how your God make a sun without vortexing current? See, the pattern is ponic, I'm reaching out for my people. Oahspe flow through your speakers, you feel the force of the equals. And when the force gets the equal, I'm taking off like an eagle. Police popped the pastor yesterday for pushing put equal. My DNA is Moshe, mix that thing with higher water. My spirit rate is OTN, it's just a higher order. Got more light than Kavita, rap a lot just like Tila. Went from sinner to saint, shout out my big homie Sealer. Got more torque than a sports car, got more work than a door star. In the 4 million I make, I'm giving the Dr. Umar, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you're feeling up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you're breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feel it up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you're breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Super 7 in my rites and ceremonies. I'm married to Jehovah, holy matrimony. Confucius say, in the words of Caillou, before you hit the tomb, be a bridegroom. Only got one question for Miss Susan B. On how to last Ahuin is now a Angui. Blame my inspiration, I'm just thinking thoughts. But in the way of God's, we gon' keep it short. Why Jesus wanna kill me, Matthew 10:34. Just a couple questions that I'm needing to know. Oahspe flow is so potent, set the vortex in motion. Super 7, I'm floating across the Aegean Ocean. Oh, you a Muslim now, so I guess you making salat. Well, I'm an Israelite, I'ma make him at the Shabbat. Got Moses on the bumper, super slap off in my spaceship photosphere. So I stay lit, peace and light to the faith is so yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you're feeling up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you're breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Put that Super